reliving it. I'm sure, I think there's more content to come as well, where we just get to see more sad Ryu face. But let's do our very best to move past that and into the draft here. As already, the Corki going to be taken away from Showmaker. He is a fantastic Corki player, that does make sense. And the Callista to be removed from Henna. And this is interesting, a lot of focus on the power picks in the mid lane. Tristana Corki, definitely very strong, something that Showmaker is very good at. But Tristana has been a really good first pick.
Yeah,
so a weird blue side ban.
When I was seeing the Corki ban, I was like, okay, they probably want D+ to ban Tristana, or they'll first pick it, but then they ban it themselves. Talia is still open, so I expect D+ will probably ban that away. They go for the Rumble. If BNK Fearex ban Talia as well here, I'm not sure what is going on.
I'm very confused. Well, Corki Tristana, they're the ones that have been taken away. There is one last ban to come in here. Could be Skarner, Senna, Ashe, Nautilus, so all sorts of things that it could be. We'll see where they do decide to land on it. As you can see, Closer typing some stuff in, seeing what he can find. I think they have an idea in mind, and it will be the Ashe.
Ashe is pretty standard.
Yeah.
So I think T+ here, I think it would make sense to get rid of the Talia in this situation, because I think it's very first pickable, especially since you can flex to the jungle.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, we'll see if they opt to go in that direction. Seen a lot of variety in first pick so far this season. Obviously, we saw Nautilus being a high priority first pick in the last series. Don't want to see the Nidalee. I think we're all clear on that. Talia will get banned, so now it comes down to what they want to prioritize here.
Just lock in the Nidalee.
Oh, God.
For Raptor.
Yeah.
You gotta get it, you know, you gotta deny it. They could take the Sejuani if they would like to, something like that, keep their options open.
That wouldn't be that interesting, though.
No, it would not be interesting.
The Vi is something that's pretty powerful, especially with Zeri and Kai'Sa priority being quite high recently. I think it really... I mean, the pick was already good, already high priority. But we did see some comps do well into it. Specifically, it was like a bounce house comp with a really thick front line with like Skarner, Sejuani, Alistar. So maybe D+ up the lean into that.
I think D+ probably want to take the Nautilus, because one of the most powerful things about Vi is that you lock her in, and then you're the one that can pick Zeri now, right? You're the one that feels like you're capable of doing so. And so they will follow that line of logic to give themselves some anti-Zeri
No
options.
one gets to have fun.
Yeah, no fun for you guys. Showmaker thinking about being a pigeon, and he will be able to lock that one in. The Nautilus lock-in does give us access to a little bit more lore, potentially, if you guys do want to hear about it. I know there was a guy on Reddit very sad about not getting much more of the lore. Of course, if the game is interesting, if it's exciting, then we're going to have to focus on that, guys. Maybe we'll have to like start a separate channel where we just read lore. If you guys would like that, let me know.
I like
LeBlanc being hovered.
Banning out the mid laners has just reverted the meta back to Azir. And then LeBlanc comes out and Azir counter. So very mobile mid-jungle combo from BNK Fearex. A lot of dive potential.
Yeah, this is a kind of fun one for Closer. See what it's going to be augmented with here as...
probably a top lane pick here.
Yep.
Because, you know, Sejuani and K'Sante... Skarner and K'Sante are open and available. And they will... Likely, it's D+ would pick one and ban the other way if it went to that to the next side. So yeah, Skarner picked up, and at this point, D+ can opt to just match, or they can go in a different direction. They can pick up jungle, maybe secure a matchup there, maybe take something like the Sejuani, although Sejuani Azir doesn't fill me with joy. They could just match with the K'Sante though, which is the tame way to do it. And it looks like we're once again seeing Skarner, K'Sante. People were bored of seeing just K'Sante all the time, so now we're going to see Skarner plus K'Sante. It's different somehow.
Yeah, it's different in the fact that it's always the same. That's what's different about it.
Yeah.
It's more the same. That's
well,
why
I think it's different because
yeah.
everyone's like, wow, K'Sante's so broken, and now it's balanced because the other champion's also broken.
Yeah, there we go. All right, there's some positives to look forward to here, as there is the Kai'Sa ban away. And I think we're going to see some thinning of this bottom lane.
Yeah, I feel like the problem is BNK Fearex are in a weird position because they don't get first pick coming out of the next, after the bans. So any AD carry they ban does hit their pool as well. I think you could just focus bans towards the jungle as a result. Obviously, D+K has already taken the support. But they opt to go for the center ban, scared of that center Nautilus, which the prior has been lower on it in summer. but definitely still pretty formidable.
Yeah, it's worth considering, absolutely. Last ban here on D plus Kia's side might give us an idea as to what we're going to see out of aiming, as Leona is going to be banned as well. So spreading it across both sides of the lane. I kind of want to see an aiming Ezreal. I feel like aiming pretty good on the champion in the past, and it was buffed decently on that.
I'm not so sure about that, because if you have Ezreal and LeBlanc as your carries, it's very Feast or Famine.
No, I meant like on the other side, the aiming version.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, I think for aiming, it would work pretty well.
Because you got consistent damage in the Azir?
Yeah, I think actually makes sense there. I think they just could take jungle, and that's just like priority to go for something like the Zeri. But actually, if they take Zeri here and leave jungle to last, they have prime opportunity to take one of these spicier jungle picks we've been seeing. Although they do have an AP mid, so not sure how committed they will be towards that.
Yeah, it could be we could see the brand once again. That would be very fun. But like you say, yeah, with Azir, it is a little bit of a different story. See where they decide to go. As Henna does have his Varus up and available. Could be something that he could lean on if he would like to. Or the Jinx! We've seen this. Jinx versus Zeri has been a thing in the past. And some hard engage on the bottom side as well. So double tanks to come through here. Some subterfuge, I guess, to come out of the LeBlanc, really dashing around these fights. And then the Jinx for that late game carry potential. Very, very excited.
Yeah, and with the strong mid jungle, you can definitely lean the pressure down there. Looks like T+ potentially going for the Poppy, and there's a lot of dashes that they could stop.
Oh, the Rice, you can see, look at Lucid's face. He's like,
You know, I think I prefer the Viego. I feel like the Poppy has a lot of strength, but I feel like the Viego gives you so much momentum in fights, and it's really going to come down to those initial kills, utilizing the fact that they have a lot of strong CC, both compositions. Once you get momentum, you got Jinx resets, you got Zeri just being Zeri once you get momentum in a team fight, and then Viego as well with his resets. It's going to be explosive team fights for sure.
Yep, I could agree. I also think that this is one of the champions that Lucid has had a lot of fun on in the past as well. Do just want to take a moment to say happy birthday to Wolf. It's Wolf's birthday today. He got a day off, and he's probably just lounging around, you know, drinking some cocktails on his birthday, enjoying some LCK.
I happened to see him at Kuchara on the way to work.
Yeah, I know. He took some candid photos of him, He was like paparazzi.
I knew it was his birthday today because we talked about it yesterday, and I didn't say happy birthday to him at Kuchara.
And this is what we were talking about. It is, in fact, Lucid favored. We just had it a little bit round the wrong way.
This makes so much more sense.
Yeah, this is what I was expecting, and I think we were actually like commentating Challenger full time while they were playing against one another. So it makes sense that we were very, very confused, and that is why. And that is good to have it cleared up. Let's have a look at these drafts once again, though. It is hyper carries on the bottom side of the map, beefy boys in the top lane. And the differences, I think, are based on how these junglers and mid laners are going to operate throughout the game. Very, very exciting stuff. Let's jump into the rift for game number 1. All right, bit of a Pokemon-themed Nautilus skin here as well. The Chandelure, you absolutely love to see it. As we are freaking out Yumi style here in the brush.
Man, they're ready for something.
I don't know what it is. He wants to eat. And all right, they know what was coming. That's why they were, the preamble was there.
Yep. Human boarding. Where you just stand there.
It's beautifully done. Wonderfully executed. Clear is going to pick up a rock, and Kingin is going to see him there with the rock and avoid the rock. Lovely. Amazing stuff.
Really good movement, side steps. That's about as interesting as it gets in the top lane matchup. Yep. That's peak, you know, and hopefully we don't have to look there again for the rest of the game. Ooh. Oh, do you see that?
The bone plating just completely gone.
Yeah.
Disaster.
I feel like it probably hit a bit if you had plating on your bones.
Yeah. Like, you should talk to Hugh Jackman about it. Doesn't he have plating on his bones?
Yeah, and it seemed very painful when he got it put on.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It was really painful, and he just, like, he has regeneration, right? And so, like, that's what allows him to put up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be very painful. As Execute going to get stunned up here momentarily, taking a bit of damage as we can see. Amy and Kellen with a bit of control of the lane.
And Showmaker actually having a pretty rough time already in their matchup. As expected from the LeBlanc, like that's kind of why you picked the LeBlanc into the Azir.
It's like really gone from a lot of different things, that mid lane matchup, as we do have a bit of Biffo, which kind of confused me a little here. But Clear is just pushing King away. The Azir versus LeBlanc, it was a skill matchup, and then it was LeBlanc favored, and then it was Azir favored. Do you know where it sits right now? How are you feeling? Right now, it looks pretty LeBlanc favored, but that might be Closer doing that, as he is going to dash forward once again.
I feel like this game will be a good study to find out.
All right, there we go. We're going to learn things. I love learning things. Can we learn things about Nautilus's lore? You know, I'm actually like, I'm kind of disappointed that I spent the time, you know, eating my lunch. What? That's a solo kill! Closer just dives the turret and walks away!
As you can see, it's a LeBlanc-favored matchup. Quite heavily.
I think
you're
like counterpick.
Level 3, you're expected to get a solo kill.
Oh my god, do you know what this is? Okay, basically what they did is they VOD reviewed the series against T1, and they were like, what started this off in a negative way for us? And Showmaker was like, well, I killed Faker.
So they killed Showmaker.
So they sacrificed Showmaker, and that's how it works. Is this flash chain, man, brutal stuff from Closer.
Just the confidence.
I love as well. Zero reaction, ice cold.
Yeah, I love seeing Closer playing a pick like this, playing confidently, and it's a rough start for D+, because if you start to take control at mid lane, the pressure will bleed towards bot lane, and whichever of Henna and Eamon gets more fed this game, I think my money's on them.
Yeah. And Henna will have that range advantage as the game goes on as well. Reset potential for the Jinx really high if the LeBlanc gets going. It's kind of nutty. With single target lockdown, it's certainly a big deal. As Kellen going to buffer that one nicely.
The other thing is, there's like a sweet spot where the reset potential is really high.
Oh, that is a lot of damage going down onto Kellen. Flame Chomp is holding him in place there as well, and now he's much squishier. That is going to be another kill, as in the 2v2, Henna just destroys the Nautilus.
Yeah, easy as that, you know, great use, chaining of abilities from Execute, using the Chompers from Jinx, and Kellen just overestimated his tankiness and goes down. And, you know, I was talking about Closer applying pressure bot. Don't need it when your bot lane just wins 2v2.
Wow. This is not how I was expecting the beginning of this one to go. Even Clear actually having a decent time up here towards the top side. Closer already half health on Showmaker.
You know, you were talking about the LeBlanc being fed.
Yeah.
You know, I'll talk about this first. Yeah, so Kellen just walks up as if he's trying to get some poke with his E. But it's so scary against the Rel, who can obviously just layer that CC on you with the Chompers and the DPS from the Jinx as well.
Yeah, that was, they just kind of both right-clicked him, and he died.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, you were saying how a fed LeBlanc would increase the reset potential.
Yeah.
But there is also, it gets to the point where LeBlanc's so fed, they just die before the Jinx even gets close, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
they're going to have to watch out for that.
Yeah, you know, can you be too fed in a game of League of Legends, you know?
Perhaps. And we might see that here today. As Henna rotating up towards that top side of the map now. So this is a bit interesting. Quite early for an 80 carry rotation.
Yeah, not something we've typically seen recently.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was an international tournament not too long ago where a lot of swapping went down.
That started with an M, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
I think the LCK team won that.
They did, and we can see Raptor moving up, but doesn't have level 6. It is a level 6 Cassante. I don't think this is a plausible dive, but they're looking to capitalize on the plates now that the reinforcement is gone.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting. So just going to try and get the Jinx as much money as possible. An understandable idea here.
Money is good on Jinx.
Indeed. That was the kind of reasoning that I had for it as well. I'm really glad that it was right. As D+K are going to at least utilize the man advantage on bottom side in order to get themselves this dragon. Haven't really seen too much from the junglers so far today as Closer. Dashing forward with the Mimic, just doesn't find the chains though. And Lucid just going to keep himself in the fog of war for the minute.
Yeah, and aiming is
just kind of chilled.
The wave. It looks like they're trying to move members up to defend on the top side. I mean, at the end of the day, Henna's not getting too much advantage top. It looks like they just lean the top side there, got a couple of plates, got grubs, and now potentially going for the swap back. looks like, which, you know, I don't think the play's bad. It makes sense. They actually got an advantage there. But maybe not as much as we were thinking would come out of that one, but any little advantage is significant.
Yeah, it wasn't like galaxy brain, but it did kind of work out here. As Henna just going to wait, buy some stuff, and is going to move back towards this bottom side.
The one thing I have is because aiming got solo XP there and is freezing the wave, he is level 6, and Zeri 6 is a humongous spike. So it shouldn't be for long, but right now aiming does have a bit of a power advantage in the bot lane. So when BNK Fearex come back to lane, they need to be a little bit careful.
Same can be said here for Clear, who did get the short end of the stick just a little bit, so he's going to be down a level, at least for the first couple of moments here of the resuming of this top lane. And look one more time, Henna is going to be very, very close to level 6, should have it by the end of this wave.
Yeah, I feel like the CS discrepancies that have come out of that play.
Oh dear, okay, Raptor is found, Showmaker shifts the sands, no cease and desist to come out yet, LeBlanc not quite close enough. Even though the Mimic was available, they didn't want to invest too much just to try and lock him down, especially with Flash available.
Yeah, it's some decent poke that's going to allow them to have a bit more pressure, especially since LeBlanc is so good at applying poke herself. But yeah, BNK Fearex definitely trying to have an active role, but I feel like, you know, they've lost out a bit in that top lane matchup, and even in the AD carry matchup in terms of farm. They're looking for this blue, but Plus are ready to contest. Closer having prior advantage, Showmaker being low, I think will stop them from being able to fight this one.
Yeah, Lucy going to come on over and at least try and clear some vision. Flame Chompers go down. And Zap even going to hit onto aiming. They will be able to protect their control ward. Lucid just going to cut his losses, head back, see what he can purchase, and look to get towards the Scuttle Crab by the looks of things.
Yeah, not much more going to come from that one. 2 minutes till the next dragon as well, which is a Hex Tech. I don't think we had a Chem Tech Soul yet today, so I'm hoping
we have not.
I can keep doing my work.
Maybe today, like maybe now is the time for the Chem Tech Soul. If there was one, are we looking at like no value? There's a bit of value. You know, Titan's Wrath on Kellen, you know, Clear doing the thing that used to be called Crystalline Exoskeleton, but isn't anymore because it does way more stuff.
Yeah, Rel has shields. You know, I feel like as long as there's bulkier targets, there's a little bit of value, but it's not.
It benefits Sterix, right? Like, and Raptor's probably going to build a Sterix.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's not Hextech, but it's okay. It is what it is.
Yep. Oh, Closer going to find the chain this time around. Just settles for an Electrocute.
Yeah, those Merc Treads, you know, that bit of MR makes a lot of difference.
Yep. Showmaker going to shift the sands, but is just pushed out of the way of this lane. And so definitely D+ looking like they're just trying to batten the hatches, you know? Hold it down as best they can and shore the ship. Because that's necessary after the mid lane kerfuffle and the bottom lane kerfuffle.
I feel like you keep doing it. You keep saying things like ship as it's like you're...
I know, it's all I'm thinking about,
you're
man.
leaning towards something. You know, it's been a little bit... There's a dragon in a minute, so I think...
Do we have a minute? Can we just pop back and just do a little bit more? As
No,
Hook is going to connect. There's the knock-up. Flash does come out from Raptor as aiming, looking to try and get some certification. Raptor goes in and aiming blows him up. That's going to be the first one for D+, and it's on exactly the right champion. Oh dear, okay, well now we're definitely not telling Nautilus stories now.
Yep, the power of the CC chain for the Nautilus. Raptor trying to get...
Oh, the flash forward from Closer. Not sure about that one.
Yeah. Aiming has cleanse and flash.
And
didn't need them. But if it hit...
Yeah.
Probably would have been okay anyway. You know, I like some... You miss every flash chain you don't go for.
And he missed that one as well.
And he missed
Beautiful. And aiming just got out. And otherwise he would have maybe had to cleanse and then get out. As Kellen is going to catch him from around the corner. Really nicely played here from the D+ support, kind of redeeming himself after some difficulties in the bottom lane earlier on.
I mean, this was a pretty big mistake from Raptor because you don't have prior bot or mid, and I think from that you should really know that walking in solo is just far too dangerous. Like, Execute wasn't there as well, and he'd probably be a better person to send him first as the Rel. But regardless, like, you didn't have backup from your mid AD carry, so you couldn't afford that. So just definitely an overstep. does end up costing them some pressure, but the Dragon can still be contested. We do see Closer TPing in with the Ludens.
Yep. Henna also does have his Kraken Slayer completed, so item completion advantage here for B&K on the bottom side at least.
I need to know, did it say in the lore, is Nautilus, does it count as like a Kraken? Would a Kraken Slayer be effective against him?
Is he a Kraken?
Well, he's not really, he's a deep sea monster, right?
Well, I mean, he's a dude who got... We don't know!
We need to finish the lore!
Yeah, we haven't actually figured it out.
We can't judge whether this is a good buy until we get through the lore.
Exactly. I don't even know where I was up to either.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
That's the worst thing that could happen.
Okay. I think it had something to do with tossing a coin in for your Witcher. I mean, for your Nautilus. Sailor's Superstition to be sure. Yep, that one. Years of salvage.
Oh, not
yeah, yeah. They had to go further out for the treasure. Here I'm up to. I know where we're up to. I know where we're up to. How much time do we? We've got a live dragon still.
I think you have time after the dragon's taken, but the dragon is still up. I think we should hold off for now.
I think we're going to be jostling a little bit. There will be some jostling.
Because what we don't want is you to do like 3 waves at a time.
Yeah, no, it didn't quite work out that last time.
It
was a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Like weaving in, you know, shifting sands and weird stuff like that.
That's when the lore really gets funky.
It does get funky. As Closer trying to push Showmaker even further away once again, gets himself in a rise. As now, we'll get the information. Is it going to be the Chemtech Soul? Is it going to be a Cloud? We haven't had one of those either. As there it is, the lockdown, and there's the Chemtech. As it goes, Closer looks for an opportunity. Execute gets a Magnet Storm, and it's onto exactly the one they wanted. Impale comes down as well. Emperor's Divide hits 3. Showmaker navigates his way out just barely. As Clear is going to grab that one with the passive. And it was almost really beautiful there from Showmaker, but in the end, it was an absolute disaster for D+ Kia.
Yeah,
well, Hook is going to come on through here as Raptor comes from around the corner, but I don't think he's saving the horse pants lady.
No.
As Kellen is going to be able to lock that one down. That might have been it. That was an Ignite. I thought it could have been the Titan's Wrath. Dot, that would have been really cool.
That could have been so dangerous for Brendan Valdez.
I know.
If he survived that health on that blast cone.
Again?
Unprecedented.
Oh, today would have been just not his favorite day.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's not watching.
Yeah, and he would always remember today as the day where blast cone saved someone. And
yeah. Oh, that was a Pirates of the Caribbean vibe joke there. I liked it. We're going to see this once again. This was, just B&K diving on top of a single target, and the Showmaker just barely making his way out and not surviving.
A lot of burning happening in these passive plays. Going down as well. But yeah, I feel like it was...
That's why they always say more dots. As Clear is going to ram Kellen into the wall. The turret going to be helping out there as well, as Lucid's going to make his way down. Teleport to come in as well, as see whether Execute and Clear can survive. As Lucid gets underneath the turret, Hook is going to connect there, and the Skarner is going to fall down. 2-1-0 for the Zeri is certainly good news, but everywhere else, these lanes are getting pummeled.
Yeah, this is actually a big advantage for B&K FearX here. Getting both these out of towers and trade 100% win.
Yeah, Henna will be able to take this turret. Yeah, that's going to go down. Cease and Desist can now come on through with Showmaker. I think he just knows that he's dead. He puts up the Sun Disc and says, that's it for me.
Man, what an advantageous play from B&K here. I feel like they've gotten so much out of this, and D+ committed to that bot side play, and yeah, they got the tower, they got the Skarner, but losing on every other part of the map, and now it's like a 2.6k gold lead.
Yep, and I looked at the player cams, I was like, wow, Showmaker looked like he wasn't very happy with that play, based on what he was doing with his champion. Then I looked at the player cam and he's just giggling.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what it means.
I find this so funny though, because I was thinking like Skarner and Rel, both tanky, tons of CC, probably harder dive. Let's see what they can do, and Execute just goes, yeah, goodbye.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
He just like, we literally have a situation where Clear's like, we can fight, make our last stand. No, I'm gone.
Yep.
And then here, yeah, I think Showmaker just not ready. Didn't have a soldier ready.
I think he decided that he was dead. I'm going to put up my Sun Disc as that's so I can still farm while I'm dead.
He rebuilt the tower. He's like, guys, leave this wave alone, it's mine.
And aiming is going to come towards that lane that you were talking about, that is not being left alone. Mainly because the Sun Disc was taken down immediately. therefore not going to get too much value there. But right now, the position that BNK Fearex in is only getting better. 2.5k is the lead, and they have so many tools as this game goes on. We've seen already that their single target lockdown, absolutely amazing, and if you set up a Skana, it only gets better from there. So Showmaker going to have to bail from this area very, very quickly, and it's going to be Rift Herald thrown down. More global gold going over to BNK. Not even necessary on the charge there. Surely going to sacrifice a bunch of health for it though. See whether this siege is going to be successful as Kingin. Opting for a back as Execute just going to have a bit of fun here. Throws a whole bunch of mites towards this turret as well. And that is 6 grubs, so they really do destroy these turrets quickly.
Yeah, it's so, honestly, the momentum they found just from clearing out these turrets, an incredible pace, pretty massive. And the thing is, the LeBlanc as well can just consistently be a menace in the side lane. You know, we still see areas like the top lane where there's been a bit of CS discrepancy. Clear's kind of borne the brunt of these plays on the map that BNK Fearex has, but everywhere else feels like they've just been gaining massive advantages. Mid lane in particular is a huge lead for Closer in this matchup.
Yeah, he's an absolute monster. I mean, he has second item, and Showmaker has the cheapest book in the shop. That's it. That's the comparison. It's kind of ridiculous. Closer also with the luxury of being able to purchase some Sork shoes as well. So going to be doing even more damage, especially if he manages to find aiming. So you can see him in this side lane here, and there are no bad guys around. That is because none of them are strong enough to go toe-to-toe. Teleport to come in from clear here as they're setting up for this Chemtech Drake. Really not wanting D+ to get themselves towards Soul Point. D+ now just going to push out this wave, try and get towards this extraordinarily healthy turret that is not going to take any damage right here.
If it was a different Soul, maybe you could be like, well, D+ have 2 dragons, they can look for a Soul win con, but with it being Chemtech, it's a bit of a rough one. I'm not even sure if they need to take this fight. It looks like they're setting up for it, and they have control of the Banana Brush. Yeah, you can see on the other side, Closer 2 levels up on Showmaker right now, and he has this great flank angle. He is not spotted.
They might be feeling like it's only going to get worse from here, right? Like they'll just continue to get bled out. But instead, they're going to pick up the waves that are coming on through. And BNK just biding their time, waiting for things to get in their favor, waiting for that tempo to shift. And like the ebbs and flows of the tide, they'll move into the river, claim their first dragon.
You really want to read the lore?
I do so bad! So bad.
We did just have a dragon taken, right? We didn't even have a fight over it.
We didn't.
Is now the time?
I think maybe it is. Okay, just to catch you guys up. Basically, we learned that Nautilus was a guy. He was really big, and he liked to go diving. As Execute is going to interrupt here, that's totally fine, as he's going to get the Shattering Strike flash. He's a little bit too far forward, though, so he does use his flash.
Yeah.
That was the outcome.
Oh, he enabled Hex Flash.
Yeah, he also got the extra AD and AP from using Ignite, which was pretty cool. There's the slowdown, though, as Execute is really keen on knowing where D+ are.
Yeah, never change Execute. That is just how he plays.
He really doesn't like Nautilus lore. He just doesn't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
All right, Execute, you're the boss. All right, Raptor, he's going to take down the Grump and look for a bit of a reset himself. And with Execute back in base, maybe I can get another paragraph in.
A whole I mean, you're going to have to go quick.
All right. The dawn was scarlet. The morning the new captain came aboard. Hailing from a foreign port, he brought with him a giant suit of brass and iron. He zeroed in on Nautilus. Indeed, he had purchased the command because of Nautilus. Oh, that's kind of cool. It was clear the captain was obsessed with a specific wreck, one shrouded in darkness, even on a fair day. The diving armor could withstand the pressures of the ocean floor as we've got a bit of an attack here. That is a great little pickoff onto Closer. We thought he'd be pretty safe, as so far he kind of is. There's another distortion, and he just gets himself out. Why did we ever doubt him?
Yeah, I just find it amazing they managed to fit LeBlanc in, because it seemed very focused on Bilgewater the lore. And they just... LeBlanc showed
Oh man, I'm trying!
But again, it feels like D+ keep making these plays, trying to punish isolated members, and then it's the same thing. They play to one lane with all their members, and they lose 2 towers in the other lanes.
Yeah.
This just happened earlier, and they fell for it again.
I mean, the last time they managed to at least get a kill, This time around, they weren't even able to.
Yeah, they got a kill on the tower last time. It's getting worse. This is a terrible deal.
Yeah, and Closer didn't even flash. Like, I was talking about it like he got caught. Maybe he barely even did that.
Did they not learn anything from Civ HD videos?
Oh man, I remember those.
Classics. Yeah, there's so many people watching. That's the thing that's going to make you feel old. There's a lot of people watching who are like, who?
Who? I think he was doing okay last time I checked. All right, Closer going to find some chains onto Lucid. Lucid not going to feel too great about it, but we'll be able to at least get away. As B&K, I think, setting up for a Baron from what we can see. Some of that vision going to get cleared here momentarily, but there are a lot of wards to get through. As Henna, a possible target, aiming dashing in, looking to try and take down this minion wave. As Kingen now looking to get amongst it. Kellen, okay, gonna throw out the hook, but the Ball Breaker is going to come on through. Shadowing Strike for a double stun is decent. As Kingen gets himself out. Able to utilize that extra tenacity as Raptor going to create that distance nicely, but has to use the flash to do so. And Kingen now finds himself in amongst it alone. And Henna going to get excited after picking up that kill. Clear throwing rocks around, and Kellen just going to leave the area. B&K in full control, and they are not relinquishing.
And if you're wondering, how is Showmaker half HP? He was 1v1ing the Baron, so...
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think anyone actually hit him.
Oh!
Now he's nearly dead.
He did get hit that time, though. I saw that. That was Closer. And they're just on the Baron. Execute going to head in towards this Baron pit. Callan over the top. Lucid in the area. Does have ulti, does have flash. Almost has smite. Closer wanting to get him out of here is all right. Execute diving on in, wanting to get rid of this Viego. Aiming, throws down the ulti. Could it be his time? They've already taken out the jungler. Emperor's Divide pushes the Stunner into the wall. Look at these health bars. It is a Zeri smorgasbord, but he's slowed down. Has to flash on forward, and he'll be able to take down Execute. Oh dear, B&K, they may have just dropped the ball, but not entirely.
Oh, but looks like they might be going over the Baron themselves. Henna's nowhere near, doesn't have the health. Maybe if Closer recalls, you can TP back in. But do they even have vision up to them? They must know this is going on. They walked past enough wards.
And this is kind of, it's kind of exactly what Nongshim tried to do in their last series as well, as Henna, he went back to base. Yeah, this should just be the Baron going down. Clear is just really dead, so he's going to be the icing on the cake. Super Mega Death Rocket! No, not happening. Aiming just going to tank that one up. As, yeah, B&K Fearex fans, I mean, that guy's still looking happy, but he looks also very confused, which I think is in line with how we're feeling as well.
Yeah, he's just having a good time. You know, he's here to watch his team. His expectations were low, and still he was disappointed.
Well, actually, no. Let's put it in context, because they're still in a massive lead. They're going to have another Chemtech Dragon, which is cool, because their icon is one of my favorites. You know, it's that little smoky plume.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of cool.
Okay, well,
let's have a look at this again.
Yeah. Was I thought they were going to stop Lucid from getting in, but in fact they were going to send all 4 members over to try and kill him. Henna was tanking the Baron and had to run out the pit and also has no mana. And they end up focusing down the Nautilus and the Viego. And I don't know if you're aware, but there's a Zeri on D+. I'm not sure that B&K Fearex were, because
I mean, B&K Fearex couldn't see the Zeri because she was free-firing from over a wall.
Yeah, well, I think that's part of the issue, but, you know, I would have hoped they would have thought about that before they all 4 members, everyone but Henna, dove over the wall. I think if they just stopped Lucid from getting in, they would have got the Baron. But yeah, a little bit of noopsie daisy. They're still ahead in gold. They're trying to hold out against the Baron from D+.
They're trying to make sure that this Red Bull Baron power play is one of the smallest ever. That's what their plan is. So B&K gave D+ here this Baron on purpose or something.
Yeah.
I got nothing. It's subpar, absolutely. It's out of turret in mid lane though, still standing stalwart. B&K Fearex able to defend it. And Henna has a fair bit of wave clear. Looking for that Infinity Edge. Man has the sad Infinity Edge component situation.
Yeah.
It always feels bad when you've got like more than 2 of them.
No,
like,
the
if
weird...
you've got Pickaxe BF Sword, it's not the worst.
When you have Pickaxe Cloak of Agility.
Oh no.
Oh man, that is like the
You need $1 million to be able to put it together. Finally, he does manage to at least complete the recipe. So there we go. 3 items and some pretty powerful items as well.
Yeah, but the problem is, I look over aiming. He's nearly gotten his Infinity Edge. And he already had 3 items.
Yeah.
Sadly for BNK Fear X, aiming at a lot of the gold in the last fight.
Kingen going to dash and do the absorbing CC, and then he does flash. As a hook is going to come through into an impale, and then they walk away. Clear with like the celebration charge maneuver. That looked kind of cool.
Yeah, a lot of CC being thrown about. Not a lot coming from it.
Yeah, that was like, Clear goes in with the impale, and then he's like, I'm just mowing the lawn, and then like runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't mind me. As aiming skating down, Clear doing the same thing. As he is going to once again do that I'm mowing the lawn pose.
Decent strategy when you're struggling to make headway mid, moving to the side lane with that Baron.
Doesn't sound like a bad idea, as it does wear off. Not a massive Rebel Baron power play, but also, you know, not a negative one. So
hey, at least they got something from it.
Exactly. Not the end of the world. They managed to take down a turret, a bit more for the coffers, and this gold lead is evaporating. Oh dear. Is it wait, hang on. Let's go back to, let's revisit an earlier story point that we may have thrown out there.
The Nautilus lore.
No, not the Nautilus lore.
Oh.
The Showmaker lore.
Yeah?
Where he learns from T1 that the best way to navigate yourself to a 2-0 victory, which is what has eluded D+ so far this season, is to die early in lane.
Well, he did do that.
Yeah.
But he hasn't recovered that well because he's 50 CS down.
Yeah, right, but he's just taking it to the next level. He's taking that strategy and he's like, I can improve it. Because the team is pulling themselves back. I think a lot of it on the back of aiming, who has just hit level 16 as well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the Baron is, like, it's not just the gold and the fact that you take objectives, but also Henna has just hit level 15 and aiming is level 16. And that Zeri feels so scared. Like, the item advantage and the level advantage in tandem.
And it's
very intimidating.
Like, aiming is also pretty good at this champion. Yeah. I know that you know, it's a controversial topic, you know, and it's Zeri and things like this. But this has been one of his favorites for a really long time, and he's been able to get things done in late games in the past.
Yeah.
And he's also just completed his 4th item.
That's a big spot.
As Lucid gonna get spotted, there's a cease and desist, which will be cancelled. In fact, that's the only champion that you're not allowed to press that button on.
Yeah, but that was actually pretty good timing, because if Lucid was, you know, because obviously the Vi was traveling a long distance, if you did it early, you might have just got knocked up afterwards.
True. Oh. As there's a hook, and the Impale is going to be avoided there as well, so that's another cooldown that is now down. Closer trying to take the Nautilus for a walk, but he will not do so. Kingen into the back line, gonna get smashed into the wall, but he's pretty tanky, and it's a fight on multiple fronts. We'll see whether the pincer is going to work as Kingen bearing the brunt of it. He is going to get executed by the Super Mega Death Rocket, and Depth Charge not followed up on at all. There is a Shattering Strike into the crash down as Showmaker in so much trouble, but he gets the Emperor's Divide down, and now it's Aiming's turn to try and pop up. Oh my god! This Zeri able to grab that double kill. It's not a wipe. It's not completely over, but that was not great for B&K.
It looks like the Showmaker strategy worked because they went for him instead of Aiming, who's the most fed person. The Azir gets focused down, the Xante gets focused down, but Aiming is just there, untouched, and he's doing so much damage. He just came alive in that fight. You can see the replay. Rex initially trying to disengage. If you actually manage to do a ton of damage to King and you don't even get to play the game, the chains that come through, pretty huge here as well from Closer. But in this follow-up play, Execute ends up committing absolutely everything onto Showmaker, and he's not a high-value target. He's really far behind. He has 2 items. Aiming has 4. And look at the damage doing.
And his positioning was absolutely immaculate for what he wanted to get done. As we're back in live, that's a Baron going down. D+ Key are going to get their 2nd and finally find themselves a gold advantage.
It's just crazy.
It's a bit of a yakety sax day, isn't it?
It is. B&K Fear X have a 4-0-3 Jinx and a 2-0-5 LeBlanc, and it feels like the game is just completely falling out of control.
I feel like this is another one of those, like, because we've seen these types of games from Henna in the past as well, where he's on a hyper carry and he has a great KDA, and the whole map is on fire.
Yeah, but
this is not quite that.
Aiming just missed a cannon, so I think maybe it's going to go in with
Oh, Doom. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. You know, they showed the goal graph there. There was probably like a tiny little dip where it's like, oh, cannon missed.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame. I guess we'll pack it up And we'll finish this one off with some Nautilus Lore. That's going to be aiming with 25,000 damage, approximately. I'm rounding up generously. But we're moving towards Zeri territory in the game. The LeBlanc era is diminishing.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, right now, aiming is still relatively squishy. And now he's just bought a shield bow.
Outright.
Yeah, so the whole burst aiming thing just got a little bit harder.
Yeah.
A little bit more difficult. A lot of damage coming out.
He hasn't sold boots and bought GA yet, so he's still executable.
I don't know if you do that anymore though, with the Zephyr.
Yeah, I guess you. Oh yeah. You want Zephyr instead. That's
yeah. I can't. Have we seen that much? I feel like no one's really got to that point.
No.
Just haven't bothered.
I think there was one bot so far in the LCK, but
Maybe they just forget that it exists.
Yeah. I liked boot and chance when they were in the game, so I'm kind of happy about the change.
Remember when it was the home guard meta
yeah.
to rush them and just hecker him with
it was the best. It was, I loved it. It was so much fun seeing hecker every single game.
There's some people who are watching who won't know that home guard used to be a boot enchant you bought.
Well, that is going to be a long-range hook. They do manage to take the inner turret as Kellen taking a bit of damage back here from Closer, but he can't push too far forward. Aiming is just too scary.
The thing is as well, a lot of summoners were burnt in that last fight, so Execute doesn't have flash, Raptor doesn't. And by the time those are available, aiming will have his flash again, so bit tricky one to find and engage. I think it goes without saying, I really do not care about Kingen, Showmaker, Lucid, or Kellen. If you're BNK Fearex, you need to kill aiming.
Yeah.
You get on aiming. I don't like, oh, we can kill Kellen. I don't care.
I mean,
we
care about them.
Oh no, we care about them as people. I just don't care about them trying to kill them. They're like, right. We caught Kelly.
We don't mind whether they're alive, but we do mind whether aiming is alive in the game.
Yes.
Got it.
It's like they're like, oh guys, you caught Kellen. No, you didn't. You're looking for aiming.
Yeah.
Just forget about him. It's aiming or bust.
Well, let's see whether they bust or whether they get aiming. That's what we're going to be focusing on here as Closer looks to get a bit of a wraparound, wants to take care of some of the vision. D+ been pretty good at getting down here. Once again, distorts over, pops back. Minion wave crashing through once again. Difficult to get the siege working as Showmaker now finds himself just straight up alone. Will be snared, but shifts the sands as Kellen Hex flash. No, that was just his flash.
It was a nice decision because they don't overcommit because they know that was Showmaker not aiming.
True, there you go. Absolutely nailing it. Supermega Death Rocket just going to try and stop some backs, and they're going to stop them themselves. Curious. They were just thinking that they're still
just hanging
thinking.
out. Oh no, maybe they were. You know that joke they were laughing at? You know, the start of the day.
Yeah.
Someone just brought it up again. They just haven't.
They needed to stick around the same area to discuss it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kingen wasn't there.
I don't know if you know, for any of the viewers at home, we've actually changed. So voice comms are now proximity based. You can only hear your teammates if you're next to them. So that's why they had to hang out there.
We just thought that it'd be much better to have that immersive experience on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, it also just allows top laners to really dial in that 1v1.
Because they chose to be a top laner because they love the isolated experience. It's true introversion at its finest.
We actually didn't. That's why Kingen looked so serious.
He couldn't actually. Oh dear. I mean, if it was proximity based, they were standing next to each other, so I think that he probably should have been able to. But he was already in the mindset.
Yeah.
And you love to see it.
He knew what was going to come in the game.
Just getting ready, preparing himself.
Lost in the abyss.
Speaking of which, Nautilus lore, it exists, but we can't talk about it. This is way too intense.
Closer is so close to Rabadon's. Surely you're going to be able to recall and grab it now. That's like, I think he's trying to push into that top tier 2 so you can just back and get Rabba before the Drake spawns. But you really, I'm just going to say, you don't want to go into that fight without the Rabadons.
Well, he's just going to pop this turret.
I think Henna might have been waiting so that Closer could get solo gold to get Rabadons, but he was in range and just stole it, so.
Well, that's a bit cute. Kingen actually identifying the ward. We'll be able to clear that one out. Showmaker here to get rid of this wave. And we have got a lot of jostling.
Yeah.
Tons of jostling for position.
Oh, is Eamon going to get the Zephyr? There it is.
Oh, he's got it. All right. So now a true 6 item.
That's actually, that's 6. That's not 5 items and boots. That is 6 items.
That's 6 items, my man. Very nice. Not quite.
Rabadons has been picked up, and no magic resist on aiming.
But he does have bajillions of damage.
Yeah.
He has all of the damage. His Baron is going to sail by.
It's so clear that B&K FairX need to kill aiming.
They do need to kill aiming.
That's the job. That's the goal. That's all there is to it. Henna's killing red, but that's not aiming.
That is not aiming. Raptor is in the pit. That's not aiming. As the Drake is going to be secured by Raptor. That's not aiming. Oh, the three-man impale, but not on aiming. He finds the ulti, though. Aiming now gets behind the wall, and Closer looks for that backline. That's aiming. Is he actually going to be able to kill him, though? That's the question. Is now execute, dashing forward. Oh, aiming is going to die, but not before he takes down more of them. A triple kill for the Jinx, and Henna getting online. Lucid now dashing around, finding the angles, and there it is. Takes down Closer, and aiming, he managed to kill the ones he needed to kill, and then had Lucid to pretend to be the others.
He survived for long enough, and the momentum from this Viego pick in those long fights comes through. Now, I think death timers are a bit too short. Kingan does not do any damage to these turrets.
If Lucid could have stayed as Jinx for like the whole time, they would have been able to end the game. But
yeah, they definitely would have. And I mean, this fight was so hectic, and Clear does a pretty fantastic job. He tries to get aiming, doesn't, but catches this front line. So much AoE damage. Raptor goes straight for the Zeri. The peel is immediate though. Showmaker doing a great job. But then we see Closer get some more damage on aiming. And watch Henna. He steps up and look how much damage aiming does. That looked like the team fight win if Jinx just killed aiming there. But the burst in return allowed Lucy to get the resets. And he was able to come through and it was finish off the last member.
And Henna had to overextend to make sure they locked that one down if it had have been the stun onto aiming. If like that shattering strike was slightly differently aimed, and instead it was just burst fire to the face.
B&K FairX lost that fight with Chemtech Soul.
I know. One of the most powerful souls in the book.
You know, you could see that moment when very briefly Henna was under half HP and doing 11% more damage.
I saw that, I think. I have to say, I didn't see that. I have to be honest. As Showmaker possibly going to get closed in on here as Closer. Going to give away his position. And down to half health is this Baron. D+, though, are able to get themselves back up to a decent health margin. Just want to stop any of the funny business. They don't want any sort of wraparound as aiming. He's skating out of there. He just wants to try and end the game.
Aiming has no flash. Raptor does. I don't think I have to spell it out. Just flash on aiming and ult him. I spelled it out, but yeah, do that.
You didn't spell it.
Well, I explained it.
Just if you could spell it, that'd be good. J. I'll start with
U.
Yeah.
S.
Yeah.
T. Space. K.
Yeah.
I. L. L. Space. A. I. M.
Yeah.
I. N. G.
Oh my. Okay, just kill aiming.
Yeah, there we go.
It was so simple. Yeah, now I truly understand.
It's that easy.
Well, let's see whether they can actually achieve
Lucid
it.
even has a Knight's Bow for aiming.
Oh no!
That's so based, but so sad.
Well, you can see Henna, he's got his GA, so, I mean, just kill Henna is a little bit more difficult now. Only managed to achieve it one other time so far this game. And he is almost up to true 6 items.
It's so mind-blowing. He's 7-1-3 on Jinx. He's got, you know, he didn't have the Zephyr, but he's got everything else, and it still just feels like so scary going up against his Zeri.
Yeah, it's feeling like a little bit like he's empowering Lucid. To be perfectly honest, thankfully now with the GA, it's a little bit more difficult for Lucid just to block him down and kill him, and then just be a Jinx. Is now Closer going to pick up a depth charge. Kellen looking for the hook angle. He will be able to get it, and pop goes the LeBlanc. That is kill number 1 for aiming, as now they're barreling down, looking for the rest of B&K FairX. They may have to settle for a Baron, because a 4 versus 5 is not what they're looking for, and without Closer, they lose so much of their damage. Everything is on Henna for trying to protect this game. A 3rd Baron now goes over to D+ Kia.
And you know, Closer didn't opt for the defensives. You're playing LeBlanc, a really safe champion. Might be regretting not having a Zhonya's now, unable to escape from the Nola Soul. I assume didn't have the cooldown to create more for distance.
And after that play, man, I understand why that commander wanted to join that ship. to be with Nautilus.
Yeah.
Because he was the guy that needed to wear the suit to lock down LeBlanc in the lore. I think that's what's coming in the rest of the lore.
D+ fans need to throw a coin into the nearest body of...
Oh, yes. Because look at this. He pressed the depth charge button, and he gave it his all. Hit the hook.
Oh, I think as well because he went back to his distortion, but his ult was set to his sigil, so he couldn't use a second distortion to get away. And his flash wasn't up then, so pretty unfortunate. Well, wait, we saw the gold. Henna has 20,000 gold.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, Zeph is like the back.
Wait,
Press tab. What? Huh?
Has he forgotten? Surely he has enough. Has he been spending his
yeah,
money on, like,
he might have been getting over and over like elixirs and stuff like that.
Maybe.
As Kellen, possibly in trouble, but no. Puts up the shield. He's going to be okay. Kingen looking for an angle. Hook not going to land as Showmaker makes his way in. Yeah, he's been buying a lot of red elixirs, so can't quite afford the Zephyr. Confirmation here from G74 from Yundo. Thank you very much for that one.
Red elixir addiction is like from Closer. Sorry, from Henna.
It's okay.
And it is Elder in 10. This is the big moment. And I don't think the plan has changed from kill aiming, I'm going to be honest.
Yep. Don't think it's changed from kill Closer as well. As Closer is looking to kill Lucid, who has to flash into the pit. Super Mega Death Rocket sails by. But Lucid really in trouble now. Doesn't have the flash, doesn't have the ult, not nearly as mobile as Viegos like to be in these fights. Henna can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief here as they look to set up for the Elder.
And especially if this comes down to a smite fight, Lucid doesn't have his tools to close the distance.
Oh, Kellen looking for that flank angle. Closer dashing out of the way. Just being as tricky as possible. Lucid did have his mist. He's going to lose out on that for the moment. There is the crash into the wall, the Impale onto 2, but where's the follow-up? Where are the answers here as executed? Aiming is on it, aiming is gonna be executed! Quite literally, but now Showmaker doing so much DPS, they take down Closer, and Henna, it is your time, he's at full health, and Lucid gets the dragon, and Kingen will find Henna! D+ Kia, they didn't even need aiming, and they will ace B&K Fearax, and they will win game 1.
Showmaker has had such a quiet game, but he pops off in the final fight. Aiming goes down, but his team are there.
Look at that Showmaker face in the player cam. My God, we really need to see the player cams and the voice comms at the end of this one. Because D+ Kia, against all odds, are able to turn it. The just kill aiming was a success.
And it wasn't enough.
And it was not enough. They'll take down the Nexus there to shock Teemo face as they'll take a walk back. Definitely a lot of things to look at here from a D+ perspective, but a little bit more from the B&K perspective. They had it almost in the bag. Wasn't quite enough, but hats off to aiming. I mean, he played exceptionally well.
Yeah, I mean, he had such a good game. And again, they put everything onto him at the end. Didn't have enough follow-through for the fight. And I think, honestly, Lucid's Viego, so much value in those team fights. It felt like the resets from the Jinx were going to be the overpowering factor, but really, the Viego stood out to me. And it really felt like when people started to drop from B&K Fearax, D+ were the ones who just swooped in and were able to take the fight. I mean, I expected D+ to end up coming out ahead in this series, but that was such a close game throughout.
I mean, the early game wasn't close. It was all B&K. The solo kill from Closer into the 2v2 kill from Henna and Execute on the bottom side of the map. There are so many positives. You can see it here in the blue part of the graph. We've seen, graphs like that started for teams that just move it up and to the right, and it's just another day in the office.
Just some mistakes came through, some that were punished heavily by D+, and this one has to feel frustrating for B&K Fearax. This definitely could have been a game they could have taken. Now back to the drawing board for game 2.
We'll see what they can do here as we are going to go to a short break. When we get back, the space is going to break it down, and we'll head to game number 2. See you there.
시작 들어.
르블랑 뚫쳐 르블랑 뚫쳐. 르블랑 뚫쳐 이거.
야 이거 레드. 야 이거 바로.
야 여기 안에 들어가자.
들어가. 야 레드 조심 레드 조심. 야 레이. 야 이거 레이가 와서 봐.
야 라이브도 빨리 들어가. 야 들어가자.
암라. 야 제리 봐줘야 돼. 쉐리. 야나 지금. 장로. 야 파이.
아 준해 있어. 봐줘.
야 르블랑.
잡았어.
나.
야 장로 선수. 야 장로 버스. 장로. 야 이거 지금 되냐?
가자.
나이스. 와 나이스.
야 이거 잡아야 돼. 지금 잡아야 돼.
야 해줘.
이겼어요?
잡아줘.
와 나이스.
나이스.
아 이걸 이기네.
나이스.
아 제리 터졌는데 이겼네.
야 왜 안 들어가?
Trying to talk about Nautilus lore for most of the day, but the game keeps getting in the way.
I feel like if you tune into an LCK cast and you understand what we're talking about, we haven't done our jobs well enough.
Or we're doing our jobs too well, making sure we keep catching people back up on what silliness that we've been discussing is okay. Once again, B&K Fearex will be on the blue side. They will once again ban away Corki and Ash, although last time it was Tristana that was the second ban.
They've realized that they can just pick Tristana being on blue side.
Crazy!
That's a good strategy. So hopefully they'll look towards that. Rumble, same ban again. Question is, what will they ban the Zeri here?
Ooh, that could be an option.
They could actually just do it, because I feel like they kind of first pick the Vi to be like, okay, we have the counter to Zeri. The true counter to Zeri is to ban Zeri.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good way to do it.
You know?
And it's interesting, right? Because you don't really think of either of these junglers as Maokai guys. So that has been a pretty much permaban in a lot of these games, and isn't really to be the case this time around. And they will get rid of the Skarner. Clear just not really happy with it, I guess. Even though he did have a decent game.
Is, you know, with Tristana not banned, D+ is the Taliyah issue, right? D+ could just leave Taliyah open, and then they got one or the other. You know, I think Taliyah is super strong right now, so that's a difficult choice to make. Like, do you want it? Are you okay giving over Taliyah if you get, like, Tristana yourselves? They're going to ban the center, so they are going to leave the Taliyah open, and Tristana's open, and it's going to end up being a trade-off. B&K Fearex can only take one of them.
Yep.
And D+, I think, confident that, you know, you could just go Vi Taliyah. That's a pretty good combo.
Yeah, I hear Lucid's actually like had a bit of practice on the Vi as well in the past. Here that was a champion that he was relatively good at. May have been a little bit permanently banned against him. So it could be an option. We didn't see it find all that much success in the last game. And there are other tools left available. The Zeri, that priority that you were talking about, certainly still an option here. So do they now take Taliyah?
Yeah, they have to.
And
if they don't, then I think B&K Fearex take a jungle.
Right. Oh, yeah, true. So Raptor can just play it in the jungle. He is going to go for the Maokai this time around. Maokai Tristana, of course, a favorite for a lot of our LCK teams.
Yeah, I guess you could take, like, Maokai. And then the problem is on this third pick, you know, you could
Nautilus?
take the Nautilus here. But, you know, maybe you'd want to take, like, I know a lot of people playing Kai'Sa into Zeri. You could also want to secure, like, a top lane pick, because I think there's a lot of options. I feel like the problem with B&K Fearex, they only have one pick here. Nautilus, I think, makes the most sense, just as a response to Zeri.
Yeah.
But it looks like they might be going for the Kai'Sa instead, and therein lies the issue, because now T+K can ban away that Nautilus, and they know they don't have the threat of the Vi. I mean, it could be the Maokai support. Don't think it's too likely, but...
And they can also hold on to the flex of this Taliyah if they want to. So they could lock away Nautilus themselves or go for the Vi. But either way, I feel like they do retain tempo in the draft to make the decisions themselves. So it will be the Vi that's considered for the moment.
The problem is like with Tristana and Kai'Sa playing specifically in a Zeri, like you want to be able to dive onto the Zeri. Like that's how the Kai'Sa functions in the matchup.
Yeah.
But how are you supposed to dive into a Zeri when there's a Vi Taliyah on the other team?
Well, with taking a lot of damage is how you do it.
Just through the rocks, you know?
Yeah.
I
guess you do it
block
with
the rocks with your face.
Twisted advance. That's probably the way that they get in there. I don't know how Raptor then gets out, but I can do the first part of the equation, and that's oftentimes you'll get a point for that, I think, on the maths test. Maybe. Nautilus going to be banned away, so that's a little bit sad for us because the relevance to the conversation that we are dying to have is now gone. By conversation, I mean actually just reading. As there's a Twist of Fate going to be taken away from Kingen, an understandable ban because he is very good at the pick.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I feel like maybe BNK Fearx ban Cassante here, and then maybe Kingen just takes like Aatrox. And I really think BNK Fearx, sorry, DK should save support counter pick in this one. Because especially with the Nautilus taken off the card, there's a lot of matchups you can get that are favorable.
Renekton taken away from Clear.
We'll see if they opt to ban the Cassante. Or I mean, maybe even they ban like the Lulu if they're concerned about that. Because you already have a lot of engage with the Vi. So maybe they could be a bit worried about that being a problem.
Yeah, I like the Lulu ban. Actually, as soon as you said Lulu, I was like, man, that kind of fits.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, you can take the Alistar, because the thing is, you know that Kai'Sa pairs with an engage support, and Alistar works pretty well as a bodyguard into those. It feels like, obviously, they're putting a bit of prio on a Kingen. Personally, I mean, maybe as a support player myself, I'm like, hey, I'd like the support counter pick, but it makes sense. Now, I guess Clear would probably just blind Cassante. Yeah. And the thing is, the support pick, I think I would probably, honestly, go Rel instead of Leona. I think Execute's really good on Rel. I think Leona has a bit of a trickier time getting on top of Zeri, whereas with Flash, the Rel definitely can. We saw it last game, you know, so I think it'd probably just be the Rel for Execute.
Yeah, you can take a fair bit of damage, Zenith bleeding through rocks and things like that as well, which can be a little bit of a rough time. That can be worse. As far as into Talia is concerned, there are options you can take, and Rakan is one of those options, but down on the list.
I think that is very dangerous, especially because, you know, Alistar and Vi can lock you up.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, going for the Gnaw. Seen Zeus bring that one out. I believe into D+.
Yeah, I think this was game 2, right? And it was not very close at all. Kingen also was, in the past, one of our players that really did like to default back to a Gnaw, but did sort of fall out of the meta just a little bit. So, a pretty cohesive-looking draft on the side of D+Kia here. I think there are a lot of things on BNK that you can be happy about in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at what D+ has to lean back on, and I'm a little bit worried about how they're going to make these team fights actually work. With all of these rocks on the ground. I think it's going to take a lot of finesse getting it worked.
Yeah, I think honestly just playing a lot of these champions into Talia, like this Talia pick, if Showmaker, I mean honestly I say if Showmaker's like not really far behind, he was really far behind last game and he still made it work.
He's still got a vote from left media.
Yeah, exactly. If he's getting a vote from left media, that's the bar. If he does that, then Talia is going to be massively impactful this game. So many champions that she just shuts down. The Vi as well, a super powerful pick. You have the Zeri once more, and you have a top laner who's going to hold up well in the matchup against Cassante. I don't think the composition from BNK Fearx is terrible in isolation. I'm just concerned. I think I have concerns with Rakan, and I think they gave a bit too much power over to D+.
The Tristana is OP though. This is something that Valdez spelled out for us very clearly yesterday. And so we'll see whether they can lean on that into D+Kia looking for their first 2-0 here in the LCK. Let's jump into the Rift for game 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, D+ fans in full voice here. BNK fans are on the other side of Lowpark for us, so it wasn't quite as deafening. But man, D+ fans definitely very, very loud. We'll see whether they get their wish as we are on to the Rift. There was something that I was going to say. And that, oh yes, because obviously D+ Kia has won 2-0 before, but just not in summer.
Oh.
So I wanted to clarify that. It will not be their first 2-0. They've been around for a while.
Yeah, but it is fun to make grand statements like that.
It is.
Like, you know, the start of the split when you could be like, oh, Quantum Freaks has more wins than Gen G? And it only lasted like...
Yeah, it didn't last very long.
It didn't last very long.
It is very interesting, though, because before today started, they had the second highest win percentage in games, still, even after their loss against T1. So that's pretty impressive. Of course, 100% is probably going to be higher, then dips to about 67. So
100% is pretty high.
It is quite high. Genji doing pretty well there.
I've heard a lot of people say you should give 110%. So maybe Genji focus on trying to up that percentage a little bit.
I remember that from Bedazzled. One of my favorite quotes from the movie. It's clear. Standing in the brush here, just wanting to avoid taking unlimited boomerangs from this Gnar that can be quite frustrating in the matchup. Was probably one of the earliest of the answers to K'Sante. It wasn't really an answer because K'Sante at the time was extraordinarily broken, but it was something experimented a lot in with Challenger.
Yeah, and speaking of the Rakan pick, which obviously we were a bit put off by, I think part of the reason they went for it is the lane, you know? Obviously, Alistar
has been a good partner with Kai'Sa in the past.
It's a good partner with Kai'Sa. It does pretty well on the Alistar in the early levels. And even though obviously Alistar can combo the Rakan, I think the matchup's pretty fine for Rakan. I think our concern obviously was more team fights and interacting with Talia and Vi. So XQ having a good time so far.
Yep.
But I think he really needs to have a fantastic game. And we've seen him have fantastic games before when the odds are stacked against him. It's just been hit or miss sometimes. So hoping for a good one for the BNK PRX fans.
Yep, also hoping that Henna is able to actually have a bit more agency here. It felt like he was stuck on a champion that was in a really powerful spot, but unable to really leverage it. I think that you do have a lot more agency on Kai'Sa just in general to get amongst it. Whether that's for better or worse, we'll just have to see. As Closer taking a whole bunch of rocks here from Showmaker, but of course, Explosive Charge always evens out the trade. And we've seen Tristana be so incredibly powerful. We've also seen Closer have, you know, almost 1v9 performances, not able to get across the line, but has been very good.
I feel like you're describing last game.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bit of a rough one.
Yeah. It's happened more than just last game.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate part.
Just a great example. We have the tape.
It's
right
one of those trends that Jat used to talk about that are worrying.
Worrying trends.
Indeed.
They do worry me.
There's Kingin. About to hit Mega. And we'll be able to get some control here. Only up a little bit as we've got a bit of a back coming through as Raptor has completed his full clear. Gone towards the Rift Scuttler, taken that one down and has mirrored exactly what Lucid has done as well. So really, it's all quiet on the Rift. Do you know what that means?
I think I do.
That means perhaps we can learn about what this captain is going to do with the brand new diving suit that he brought onto the boat. Just have to make sure that they can... Okay, never mind. It's got a Hepa Pulverize onto Henna. Kellen going to be knocked up, though, taking so much damage here. Now lit on fire. As aiming still at full health, though. They're not going to quite be able to finish off the kill, and they don't even get the flash out from Kellen just yet. Aiming still just trying to punish as now the dive comes in. That's going the wrong way, but he still takes a turret shot as Showmaker looks for the threaded volley. He finds the big rock. One more auto, and he'll return the favor.
Beautiful play from Showmaker, gets the solo kill after being on the receiving end in game one. And we were talking about the value of this Talia. I feel like he's gone above and beyond just getting the vote from left media.
Yeah,
I mean,
and sometimes that's the only nudge you need.
That was the motivation, you know. Showmaker walking back to his seat, he looked up, he saw it, and he went, thank you, did Fierce Media.
Yeah, that was a fist bump. Fist bump 100% as he
Yeah.
made his way back into the LoL Park stage.
That was for him.
Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And now back to lane. Let's have a look at this one more time. And I was a little bit worried, right? Because normally you seismic shove over the rocks to get the value. But he was in turret range after that.
Yeah, the turret hit just contributing so much. And Closer goes for like a short flash so that you can try and...
I think he basically just said, what were you doing?
Yeah.
I got the confidence. Yeah, I had the yeah from you and then the yeah from Cheese
Yeah,
immediately afterwards.
I don't speak any Korean. I got the vibe.
Yeah, yeah, you don't need to. That's a universal one there.
Yeah.
But that's he was already a happy Showmaker even after what was a difficult time in game number one. And when Showmaker has an unshakable mental, he wins worlds. It's kind of how that goes. He's just one of these players that can really carry a vibe. So let's see whether they can carry it here in game number two. Lucid in position. There are a whole bunch of kitty cats in this brush, though. Am I going to have to be a little bit careful there as Execute in position, but Kellen has rotated over as well. Volley's being threaded, thrown around, Clear making his way down. Kingin with Mega, doesn't find the wallop, and will run out of Mega Narbar. Now D+, now trying to regroup, as there is two more grubs left in that pit. BNK possibly able to start this one off with 3.
Oh, you can
Lucid
actually
moving
see
in.
Aiming's nearly there, by the way. He's a lot closer.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall coming on through there. That is going to be the seismic shove. Raptor going to have to try and twist and advance his way away, and he will be able to do so, but Kellen is going to find the headbutt, and now Aiming gets in here in the nick of time. Kellen survives somehow! And on the other side of the fight, it's Showmaker getting his second. Oh dear! This is the opposite start of game number 1, and B&K finding themselves in a big deficit.
Yeah, super good read from Aiming there, making his way over to the play. Actually makes a difference. He gets a kill for himself, and honestly, I think maybe Kellen goes down if he's not there. Hits the level 6 as well, so pretty big advantage garnered for him. Just great timing on that one.
Oh yeah, let's have a look at this replay once again. Weaver's Wall coming in, Showmaker already level 7, and Execute and Kellen both level 4 in this fight.
Yeah, that's a Talia Vi combo. Very easy to do onto the Maokai. Does manage to get some distance away though. But here, you know, I think Closer just missed out on getting the kill, ulted a bit too early. And yeah, Aiming there to help clear up.
Is Aiming going to get robbed twice in a row? Is this just going to be the Kellen show in the end? Because if he continues to make these grand escapes,
I mean, Showmaker's
as the Matador Alistair.
Showmaker's got a pretty solid argument so far.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well too. That's actually a very good point. I see these narrow escapes, and I also see the redemption arc of Kellen, and the narrative kind of takes me. You know, one of these things that I'm sure Left Media would understand. He understands the more based of the votes.
He gets it.
He does. As Aiming just wants to go back and spend some money. And that's throwing out some Void Seekers. He's going to find the wall here as
That
Kellen
really
just
did
protecting.
Void, by the way. It went into that abyss to the right.
Yeah, there is really an abyss there to the right. I wonder what's there. I wonder whether there's a lore section that I can read.
You should look it up.
Yeah, maybe that's Mount Targon off to the right.
Yeah?
Then we can talk about Aurelian Soul and the
Man, imagine if they
aspects
made
that
it so
tried to harness his power.
Imagine if they made it so if you like moved your camera off the rift, you could just see like Piltover and build water and stuff in different areas.
Oh, would be really cool.
So maybe, you know, when you're really losing a game and it's only you alive and your team's all dead and they're taking the Nexus, you can just look off and be like, oh, look, there's Vi and Caitlyn.
Maybe that's what they should work on first for the MMO, is just the map. And the more they finish, the more you can just like pan off the screen.
Maybe that's what they've been working on this whole time, you know?
Yeah.
Putting the time in.
And you know, like, sometimes you die, you really need to go to the bathroom, and then you come back and your mouse is scrolled all the way somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, you could scroll all the way to Shurima,
Yeah.
and like, for some reason, you've disabled the spacebar. You have to scroll all the way back. I don't know where Shurima is in respect to where Summoner's Rift is floating, but look, there's some of these things that we don't necessarily understand.
I
We'll have
don't
to
know
work
where
out.
Shurima is in relation to like anything, or I don't know where anything is lore in Runeterra in relation to anything.
Well, there is actually a fun video. Some guy actually made the world in like Unreal Engine or something like that, and it's very cute. So you can watch that if you want to have a look at the geography. Speaking of which, Execute going to have a look at some geography here away from the rest of D+. Did try to engage onto him. Didn't need to do too much, as of course he is the Rakan.
Yeah.
You got to keep himself alive.
D+ not happy with anyone admiring the scenery. Don't agree to that, and they are going to look to pick up this dragon. No chance of contest in B&K Fearex on this one.
Yep.
And I'm hoping this one is in the Chemtech.
Yeah, you are paying extra attention.
I am dialed in. It's Cloud now, so no Cloud.
Oh, no Cloud, so that's a bit sad.
Cloud Souls today.
Yeah, I know. You got your Chemtech in. I haven't got my Cloud.
I hit the quota.
That means we're going to have to go to game number 6, and that means that B&K are going to have to turn this one around in a big way. 1.6K is the lead for D+. The problem that I have with the fact that D+ are off to such a good start is that their composition really doesn't suffer from too many pitfalls, right? Like, we talk about some comps as being really strong in the early game, finding mid-game spikes after hitting a few item spikes and things like that. But this one, I feel like it bridges pretty nicely.
Yeah. I think there's a decent job. I mean, I sort of raised concerns about how it's going to team fight, but ultimately the Tristana's just been so strong in the later stages. And if, you know, obviously close out that little mishap earlier, but hopefully can get farmed up.
Early mishaps we have seen can be turned into Left Media votes.
If the only League of Legends I'd ever watched was this series, I would assume that a gold lead early is a bad thing.
Yeah. What if you'd only watch this and T1 versus DK?
Yeah. If that was my entire sample, making a basis of, I'd be like, wow, winning early is really bad. So maybe BNK Fearx are going for that angle. And if so, they're being challenged
severely. All right, there's going to be the ulti as Raptor trying to get out of there. He does manage to lock down one of the grubs here as Aiming looking to try and get away, and Execute not going to be able to do that whatsoever. Showmaker now just going to try and lock him down. Does get the flash out from Raptor, but I guess they got what they came for. That is 4 grubbies. They're able to lock down 2 of them. All that D+ can muster.
Yeah, not sure it's a weird trade for BNK Fearx, I'll be honest. Oh, closer.
Well, Kellen's going to look for it. Does manage to interrupt the rocket jump. A very difficult task, as we know. Henna does the walk tactic to get out of the seismic shove, but he's just standing here a little bit too long. He's got the barrier, the big old rock as, oh! Extendo beam doesn't quite extend far enough.
Yeah, you can see that Henna trying to set up for an angle to ult in and kill Showmaker. Not really possible when Alistair is just there. But yeah, not a great play, I feel like, for BNK Fearx, but D+ just so decisive in punishing.
And, I mean, I don't think any team's really going to think about trying to solo kill Showmaker anymore. Because he just seems like he's gotten power from it. Now 2-0-2 after finding a great fight around the Elder in the last game. And he's like, wow, this game has gotten a lot easier. I'm going to try not dying in the early game more often because this is working out great. They do have a lot of control here. We can see moving to that 2,000 gold mark. Already the Archangel's stacking up. We're going to have a look at this fight one more time.
Yeah, and it just feels like D+ really have the eye on the ball in this one. Kingan's coming down close to Mega. They lead the engage with the buy. They have the Weaver's Wall as well. It just feels like, and look at this TP that comes in from Closer. It just feels like in comparison, BNK Fearx are like, oh, we're fighting? Whereas D+ are the ones actually saying that, yes, we are fighting, we're starting the fight. We've already killed, you know, one of your teammates.
Yep. And I think it's kind of beautiful, the fact that we're getting this comparison between D+ now and D+ in the past. And we're seeing Lucid on Vi in both of those eras. And I think now that the team has built up so much more of this synergy, very similar to what we saw from the D+ that was in Challenger playing behind Lucid so effectively, is that when he presses that go button, now D+ are ready to just go. And it's really nice to see. Hoping that that does continue. Of course, didn't quite work out against T1 in their previous series this week, but we also thought that maybe the D+ effect of lose a series and then that sort of bleeds into the next one and then the next one.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be happening here. They were able to hold on in game number 1.
It's looking good. It's looking good so far. And I also think today they came in with some pretty sharp drafts. I feel like that's one thing is that, you know, even T1 are a team sometimes they go through these struggle periods where, you know, their priorities a little bit messed up. D+ are really sharp at the moment, it feels like, on what they want. And they make it work. And also, honestly, this has been one of my bigger criticisms of Aiming, and not specifically him, but the team had this tendency to put him on champions that I don't think suited him. I think Aiming has very much a style that works extremely well for him. And it's not like immobile carries. I think he works best on things like Zeri, like
mobile hyper carries, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're on picks where, I mean, even last playoff Solution, like, yeah, he likes to play these mobile picks, and I think they work best for him. And I think D+ have realized that, and so they're no longer picking him things like Jinx, and they're going, hey, get him on Zeri because it works.
Well, now we're looking for a fight around Herald. Extendo Beam not quite going to catch Clear as he makes his way in. They will be able to grab some Banana Brush control as now the Brambles come out, or the Kitty Cats, I should say. Headbutt Pulp comes in as the Weaver's Wall splits up the fight. Clear can't quite get out of there, but he does avoid the seismic shot. Finds a huge cube and now Aiming. Throws down the ulti. Closer has locked up the Vi, though, and now the re-engage. Oh, the pulverize into the shove. Picture perfect from Kellen and Showmaker. And D+ fight back.
Yeah, really nice re-engage there from D+. The thing is, BNK Fearx got the Herald. They didn't need to go for more there. They could have just backed away and been satisfied with the objective. They opted to look to see if they could find something extra, and they end up paying for it pretty heavily. They even took out Lucid before he could do it, before he could ult, and it still wasn't enough.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out, and it just, there is a lot of setup for this Talir. It's kind of ridiculous. Seeing the Vi go down, you think, oh, now it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do it, as Aiming's going to try and get out of the way of Clear, and does so by walking. Walking very powerful, as we know.
Yeah.
And that is how he's able to exit that situation, as now we're going to see this one more time.
Yeah, and it looks, you know, initially solid. We actually find the angle coming out from Clear. He gets a knockback onto Lucid after blocking out the seismic shove. but I think it's a little bit of an overcommit because they kill Lucid, but they've already burned so many of the big ultimates. Execute this Rakan is so squishy, and Kellen gets a beautiful combo to set up
And
Showmaker.
Closer was around the corner. I don't even think they saw him, as we've got a Mountain Soul this time around. Just a bit of an aside. Definitely nice there. But I think Closer was almost hit by accident as Execute gets headbutt pulverized.
But it's one of those things, you know, where it may not be intentional, but they instantly capitalized on it.
Absolutely, and the seismic shove was there as if they knew exactly what was going on. So maybe they just had full vision and they did it on purpose. But it looked to me like it was just a buy one, get one free. And 1+1s, as we know in Pyeongchang here in Korea, is you do it every time, you know? If there's another soda you were thinking of buying, no, you're going to get the 1+1 version.
Oh man, you know, because sometimes I don't see on the sign that says 1+1, and when I go to the till, I'm just...
Oh, and he's like, go and get another one? You're like,
Have to
okay.
get it.
Speaking of getting another one, we have another team fight here as Lucid going to be able to take down one, throws out the ulti, and then dies pretty quickly. Kellen absorbing a lot here with his unbreakable will. And D+, not going to be able to save this turret, I don't think. Spherex, come on down, never you mind, as in goes Kellen once again. Seismic shove this time is going to land, and it's aiming that's able to lock down that first kill. The killer instinct is finally here though for Henna, as he's taken so many rocks to the dome. One too many there, says Showmaker, and he locks down the double kill. Kingen has now found clear. This is a top lane matchup, Atlas. We can dial it down a little bit, and I will do so. Yep, and they are hitting, pressing buttons. What did you think of the team fight, Orcs?
Pretty great. Showmaker playing really well, and the value of this Talia just showing up again and again. I feel like this pick is just paying for itself. And the initial play ends up not being the most fantastic trade. You know, again, this is kind of one of the issues we've really said about the Rakan into this composition. But they trade it back, right, onto Lucid. Looks decent for BNK Fear-X. But here, they end up overcommitting a little bit. Kellen starts the fight, aiming with his ult up does so much, and Closer like flashes in so deep to make the play happen, and then Henna has to kind of ult to trade. But here, with the Unraveled Earth coming back up again, there's nothing you can do.
Oh, we got more fighting. There's another headbutt pulverized, this time onto Raptor. He's going to be the first one to go down in this fight. Showmaker in pretty good position. Lucid just interrupting everything. Kingen diving on top, but the Cassante will not be stopped from... Never mind, Zeri's going to be able to do so. Henna now running away from Aiming, who is completely powered up. There's the double. Over the wall goes Execute, but you will not survive. It's the triple kill as we're diving into turrets before we've taken outers.
The cleanup so good there from D+. Look like this, they got an interrupt on an Execute with his W. We got to see that on the watch back, so...
It's a little bit replay purgatory, and I'm glad we get some of the setup here.
Yeah, so Raptor just managed to avoid the seismic shove, but I think, yeah, Execute goes for the W and hits the Unraveled Earth, which is...
Oh, back in live,
Yeah.
Henna is not
You know what?
live.
I hate to be that guy, but I can't, you know, we did say the Rakan terrible into the Talia, and we kind of saw an example why right there. And
I mean, we
also-
didn't need it to be proven.
No, but
we know.
we just had to really remind everyone.
XQ was like, all out, play it. As it turns out, it is just a patch of ground you're not allowed to go on.
Just in case you really needed to see why Rakan is not good when Talia's in, this is why.
Yep.
Just in case you really...
Oh no, it's a big time blunder as well, because he also got sort of stuck on the wall.
Yeah, and then here, they do kill Showmaker.
It was the
Henna-
most W value from Clear as well, as he absorbed even the Gnar.
Yeah, Henna tries to commit for the kill on the Lucid, but doesn't have the ult, so can't really dual aiming, and aiming just sweeps up the kills, as the Zeri does.
Yeah. And this is the other kill that we got out of the replay that was from before, and Henna died.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
I'll hold that thought. We'll look at this Baron that's evolving in front of us.
Well, Kingen is going to find Closer. Seismic Shove doesn't really do too much of anything, as Showmaker's now put the rocks on cooldown. A possible opportunity here for Execute to actually press a button. As Extendo Beams are flying in, there's the Weave as well. They're looking to close in onto Closer, no pun intended. I apologize for that one. And he's just going to get jumped on by the Mega Gnar. Now Henna is running for the hills, and D+ are just trying to catch him one after the other. Extendo Beam comes down. The ulti from Aiming is there. Execute is just in no man's land. I guess it's his side of the map, but BNK are completely disjointed.
Yeah, they are just getting picked apart. I mean, game one, they obviously started with an advantage, but even when they lost control of the game, it still looked like they had hope. This game feels so hot. Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
If Kellen steals this... Okay, he did.
He did.
Still.
Thumbs up. That was going to be insulting.
He allowed
Yeah.
Raptor to have it.
Yeah, he did. That's a consolation blue buff. And that is, it's well, needed. Absolutely needed. Baron going to go down yet again here for D+ Kia. And have a look at this one more time. I mean,
doesn't have the jump, nothing he can do.
Kingen had the jump though.
Yeah, he definitely did. And then they chase down Henna. Aiming has a great angle over the wall here. Execute tries to come in to save, and then realizes, oh yeah, I'm playing Rakan into this composition. It's terrible.
Oh no. It sounds so sad, and then it's reality as well.
Yeah.
That's the worst part. As D+
Yeah,
now just trying to push, trying to grab themselves a better Baron power play than their first one in the last game, and already I think they've succeeded.
This kind of reminds me, though, you remember last summer when KT had that massive win streak?
Oh, yeah.
Game win streak? And they kept playing like the same champs, and aiming was on Kai'Sa.
Uh-huh.
It's feeling like that with Zeri at the moment.
It is feeling a little bit like that. Let's see whether BNK can overcome it, as Closer has a great flank angle, but Showmaker buying some time here with the Zhonya's. He is able to flash his way out, seismic shove to protect him. Meanwhile, the rest of the fight, aiming is in a little bit of trouble, throws down the ulti, is now Henna trying to answer, but it does not work. Execute almost going to get killed by Kellen after Showmaker does so much heroism. And Raptor is hoping they forget that he's here. And they won't.
You're there.
Unfortunately, there is vision, and the sweeper doesn't last long enough. Execute's also dead. Kingen throws a drill at him, which is something you shouldn't do in real life, but you can in League of Legends. It's absolutely fine as aiming, chasing down the tree, and Raptor just wants to sleep. He's in his pajamas aiming. He's going to dab and head into the brush. They throw down the control ward, an expensive kill here, but it's going to be the 9th for aiming, and things that are expensive, not something that aiming really cares about. We know he loves to farm.
I really don't think you needed to use the control ward there.
I mean, we also don't think he needs to take minion waves from Showmaker and things like that when he has 6 items, but he still does.
Yeah, it's the way he does it. And then, anyway, so in the fight, they try and get Showmaker. The Zhonya's is great. The double knockback, fantastic. And basically, Kellen's just playing bouncer here while Showmaker survives as long as he can. Ends up actually taking the Tristana kill himself, and we don't get time for replays.
No, we don't. In live, there is
Execute.
a bit of stuff to talk about, but he walks it out.
Yep. Now we're going to go back to the replay. We're going to just keep going online. I don't know. We'll see. Execute is firmly out, but there's games to be played.
I think we need to get the space to make a graph of like the worst possible Rakan angles, because this is up there. There's no Poppy in the game, but this is pretty up there. As Lucid, speaking of Execute.
You know, I feel like, honestly, because Poppy's W is quite short.
Ah, true. Well, we're going to trade some positions here as Henna, the killer instinct, we were asking for it, some more proactive play, and sadly we got it.
That certainly was a decision you can make.
Oh,
but
no.
yeah, like at least Poppy's W, like, you know, it is a brief the time it's up for. But Showmaker just slams the Unraveled Earth up and it's just there.
Yeah. Kellen, Unbreakable Will, going to be able to get him out of there, it's clear. Travels over some rocks, but he's pretty tanky. He's not too worried about it. This turret going to fall down, and there's another headbutt pole. Kellen, you maestro of the engage. Never mind, it may not necessarily work out as aiming. Never mind, he's at full health. Clear, going to get taken down. The burst fire is now coming in as aiming skates over the little rock. They'll take down this inhibitor. Some sacrifice had to be made, and it was in the form of Kellen, but I'm not going to fault him for anything he has done this game. Looked super, super good on the Alistair, and that is redemption. I'm sure a lot of people remember another Alistair performance that may have happened at a certain World Championship.
Don't bring it up. Please don't bring it up.
It was not great, but he is certainly putting some hours because he is looking so good on it today.
It's been such a strong performance. I honestly think that's the toughest bit about this game is who's the POG vote?
It's Showmaker. I think it has to be, doesn't it?
That's what but I also think Kellen is a really strong argument.
Yeah, I think you're allowed to. You're definitely allowed to, you know, as I don't think it's going to go to Henna.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Unfortunately, just getting punished here. Zeri against a wall. It's just not going to happen. But great positioning from Kellen to capitalize.
Yeah, and the angle here gets on top of the starting, survives a surprisingly long amount of time. But the AoE that comes out from this Runan Zeri is just so much.
It looked like it was almost a BNK angle there, and then you notice that aiming's at full health.
Yeah.
so it's just not really the angle there. Pickaxe is going to turn into an Infinity Edge at some point in the future, perhaps, unless the game is just going to be over. 12, 1, and 7, though. I mean, there's 2 items, a dagger, and a book on Henna. Like, that's it.
Wow.
And aiming is about to, like, rid Boris of all of his wares.
He must have got a discount on those.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this is some 1+1 territory that we're in right now as far as completed items on his area concerned. Great seismic shove once again from Showmaker is clear. Getting thrown around like a ragdoll. He's able to eat some of the CC, but I think the important stuff did manage to land as Kingan's pushing Raptor away, and even the Gnar is an absolute monster. First Nexus turret to go down here.
Oh, the Maokai flank.
All right, there we go. Through the brambles goes aiming.
Zeri's there to tank it.
Yep. And back into the wilds goes the tree. May have actually got their wish, though. Bought them some time, some space.
Return to his people.
Yes. Into the fields. Okay, well, they might be able to get themselves towards a dragon. That's what's going to be spawning now, as Raptor is still relatively low. Kingan trying to get out of the way of Henna, who's going to get slowed down by the boomerang. There's some more knockups going to be connecting here onto Execute. Clear back to full health as the Weaver's Wall comes in. They're splitting up the fight once again. The Grand Entrance, so powerful, and another Pulverize just says absolutely not. Kingan is flashing on top of Henna as well. It's a quadra kill for aiming on the Zeri. I had a penny for the amount of times these Zeris have gotten multi-kills. I'd have lots of pennies this season. As Raptor, he might be the extended pentakill, and that's it. Aiming's gonna lock it down. I'm sorry for not screaming my lungs off, but it's been so many already this season.
And it's another for Zeri. It's always Zeri, but aiming, after a pretty monstrous performance on Zeri, will get the penta, and they will close out the series 2-0. Their first 2-0 of summer.
Yeah.
Pretty convincing one after in this game too. Obviously game 1 a bit more of a struggle, but a well-deserved victory for D+.
Absolute bloodbath as well. 38 kills, and 31 of them were on D+ here in that game. The last time felt like it was a bit of back and forth, you know, it was a lot of jockeying. This one, bit of a shellacking, as it turns out in the end, but so many carry performances. I mean, hats off. Like, Lucid gets a deserved POG in game 1 and sits back and has a quiet one. Here in game number 2, Kellen making so many amazing plays. Showmaker with glorious performance from minute 1, being able to lock down that solo kill. And Lucid, yeah, gives the camera the L. That's to spell his name. He's not calling us losers.
Yeah, L for Lucid.
Yeah, Lucid. Showmaker, big grin on his face as well. I have to say, Showmaker has been through so many ups and downs over his career, but when he's on, my goodness, he is on.
Yep. Such a good game in that second one. Obviously, game 1, a little bit of a slow start, but had the bounce back. And I feel like that's kind of how this feels in general, because the loss to T1 was a bit of a painful one.
Yeah.
That game 1, they could have won, but this is the bounce back they needed, because I think, you know, they could have won that T1 matchup, and the rest of their season has looked good. This should be a promising season, and honestly, D+, they had a promising playoffs in spring as well, so I think fans can be optimistic. You know, hiccups will happen. No team is flawless, but D+ are looking like they are growing.
They certainly are, and I'm glad that they looked good in this series, because we have our week 1 prediction overreactions coming up, and we all filmed what our predictions for said week 1 were going to be prior to this week, and I maybe look a little bit less silly now. It's a little bit of a spoiler, a little bit of a precursor perhaps. Still, it's not going to look great for me, but let's have a look at some highlights. Speaking of looking great, Kellen makes it out with 1 health, perfect tanking there. This time doesn't make it out, but he sets up for everything here for D+. And it was a bloodbath. It was an exciting series. An exciting game number 2, definitely, especially if you're a D+ fan, because there were kills all over the place. The setups here for D+, just brilliant.
Yeah, and I feel like the comp made a lot of sense to them. I think that's something really as well to praise for D+, is the drafts really sharp in both games today, and especially after that first series where DRX picked Nidalee.
I was going to say, like, are we just going to say any draft that doesn't have Nidalee in it is amazing drafting, just really picking for their strengths?
Yeah, I think no Nidalee, 7 out of 10 minimum, right? But also, the Taliyah bumps it up to an 8 out of 10. Taliyah Vi, 9 out of 10. And then you picked Zeri for aiming, 10 out of 10.
Yep.
No faults. You know, I think they nailed it.
And Vi and the Viego for Lucid as well. As far as priority picks are concerned, they're feeling pretty good for him at the same time. We'll listen in to D+ as they finish off the pentakill for aim. Aiming was already calling for it. Right as the first person dies, it's like, Penta?
Dude, he was calling for it in champ select. You know,
I think it was. Yeah.
Pentakill.
I think he said Penta, and they locked in Zeri first. That's what happened.
Dude, Lucid just like... So
Showmaker is just singing.
용혁이 또 나 펜타
Yeah.
하려고.
You know, I have so much respect because I am that person who, if someone's gonna get a penna,
Yeah.
I will try and steal it.
Yeah, nice.
얘들아 잘한다.
Yeah, they were trying to yell at Lucid because he was trying to win the game instead of giving the penta to aiming. And also, none of them really reacted because they're so used to aiming, getting Zeri pentakills. Oh, man. 37k damage on aiming, but Showmaker with a highly respectable 32.6. And Closer, unfortunately on this graph, making the Tristana look a little bit more balanced than she has looked in some of our other games. Have to say though, I think from draft to gameplay, D+ here in game number 2 were pretty much unrivaled.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just wondering who's gonna get POG because I think it's a hard one.
I mean, Kellen, Showmaker, I'd flip a coin if it
Yeah.
was me. I think their performances were absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I think left media. I'm just going to look at whatever left media
Left
chose.
media is a new
and
base vote.
It doesn't actually matter who wins. It's just about left media. I can even see it's on the teleprompter here, ladies and gentlemen. Who will left media vote? We don't know.
That's the question.
I think it's Kellen because I know that they're based. We're going to throw it back to the space. Speaking of based people, they're going to close out the day.
Thank you very much. This is Dear for the POG interview translation, joined by Lucid and Showmaker on the side of D+ Kia, who secured their third victory by defeating BNK Fira. Congratulations! What a clean 2-0 victory. How do you feel, Lucid?
전 경기를 되게 뭔가 2대0으로 너무 아쉽게
The previous
져가지고
match,
이번 경기는 꼭 2대0으로 깔끔히 이겨야겠다
it left a lot
생각했었는데
to be
2대0으로
desired with
깔끔히
the
이겨서
loss.
기분
It was a
좋은 것 같습니다.
2-0 loss, and now we're able to pick ourselves back with a 2-0 victory instead, so it feels great. And Showmaker, yeah, I personally didn't do too hot in the last match, and be able to grab this 2-0 victory makes me very happy. This is your 4th POG, and you're in the sole position of first place in the standings, Lucid. Did you know? Oh, I just found out. There is something even more impressive, which is you got 4 POGs with all unique champions, with Nidalee, Poppy, Vi, and Viego. So what's the secret to being this good? I'm sure I probably played well, but it's just that the drafts were really good, and all of my teammates being able to sort of make me look good is also part of it. What do you think, Showmaker? He's giving you your credit. Yeah, it's great. And in game 1, D+ Kia took Viego as the R5 pick, and after seeing the blind pick Vi, can you walk us through how you completed the draft? When the opponent picked Vi, I felt like if we play something like Vi or Poppy or Viego, I knew that that's just something that can bully the opponent out. So I think that's just a part of like a mind games during drafting. And at the second half of game 1, you guys got your dragon stolen, but in this replay, got a big win in the team fight, which was a game decider. So can you walk us through how you found this angle? I saw the front line trying to sort of cluster together, and it was pretty dangerous, but we were able to play out the team fight pretty well, and that's why we won. So would you say that this is more like a instinctive based on how your reflexes are? Yeah, I think it's really based on how I end up responding rather than trying to think this through. So how do you keep calm in this place? I personally don't think I'm very composed or anything like that, but I am playing around a lot more calmer players around me, so maybe that's why. It looks like he was asking for help. Showmaker, what do you think? To be honest, Lucid doesn't really put in a lot of thought. He's really mechanically talented. He actually just plays instinctively. And even in team fights, I feel like we definitely go through millions of different thoughts. So we had a showmaker versus closer matchup. What was the most important factor in today's mid matchup? For mid matchups, I think that's really the core of the game. So being able to not lose control over the mid lane is probably the most important, but in game one, we definitely collapsed pretty hard, but we're able to pick ourselves up. So you guys also traded solo kills right here. You got your revenge from game one here, and your ability combo was pretty impeccable here. And then after that solo kill, you looked so... Your reaction seemed so confused. So why were you so flustered? I just didn't think that he was gonna come in, and I had biscuits, so that's why I was a little confused. And closer in game one, he actually had such a cool solo kill moment, and then when I got the solo kill here, it was just so a little bit unexpected. In game two, Showmaker, your kill participation was quite high, and you really lived up to your Showmaker, Playmaker role. So what's the key point in playing Talia against Tristana? In the early game, it's actually harder to win as Talia, but I just had to make sure that I CS well and be able to hit my skill shots. Lucid, for aiming's Penta, we noticed that the team was putting in collaborative effort, and we actually heard aiming say, "Lucid trying to take my Penta away again. Did you want to steal it?" Rather than trying to steal it, I just really wanted to end the match and be done and go home. And since the rest of the team really wants to give aiming his pentakill, I was just trying to go along with it. So with today's victory, I'm sure your fans are very proud of you. Any shout out to the fans? Lucid? Our last match was quite terrible, so I felt really bad about that, but I'm able to pick ourselves up again, and I hope that we can continue this momentum. Thank you so much for all your support. And Showmaker, for this week, this is how we get to end strong. I hope that we can continue our winning streak from now on. Thank you. And that's the end of the interview from Lucid and Showmaker of D+ Kia, and back to the space. Thank you.